Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this meeting of the Mid Sussex District Council Cabinet Grants Panel. My name is Stephen Hillier. I'm the chair for today, and to my right is Councillor Demir, and we are expecting Councillor John Belsey, my vice chair, but I suspect the road conditions have held him in delay, so hopefully he will be here shortly. So I'll move straight on to the agenda item 1 to note substitutes in accordance with Council Procedure Rule 4. I'd like to note that Councillor Demir is substituting for Councillor Norman Webster. Number 2, to receive apologies for absence. Have apologies from Councillor Webster, and I'm delighted to see that Councillor Belsey is entering the room, having fought his way through the winter conditions. Moving on to item number 3, to receive declaration of interest from members in respect of any matter on the agenda. So I will start off myself in respect to agenda item 8, the micro business grants. I have a non-pecuniary but prejudicial interest in relation to the Haywards Heath Business Association, as I'm a member of their committee, and I have a non-pecuniary, but I have a long-standing relationship with the owner of Aquapax, so I think it's probably appropriate for me not to be involved in that decision. So, pass over to my colleagues. Do you have any declarations of interest? Excellent. Thank you very much indeed. Item 4, to confirm the minutes of the meeting on the panel held on the 24th of October, which are on pages 3 to 10 of our papers. Any comments or concerns, councillors? Otherwise, we shall move to a formal vote. Thank you. And I see that that is unanimous, so those minutes are agreed. Thank you very much indeed. Moving swiftly on to item 5, to consider any items that the chairman agrees to take as urgent business. I have none. Looking around at Democratic Service Officers to make sure that's right. 6, to receive representations from members of the council on the applications. I personally have not received any. Have any of my colleagues? It's a no from Councillor Demir and a no from Councillor Belsey. Rattling through. Moving on to item 7, corporate grant schemes or release of section 106 contributions. I think probably handing over to Elaine at this stage. Is that correct? I'm getting a nod from the screen in front of me. Over to you, Elaine.
Yes, thank you very much. This report is about an existing project that the Cabinet has already awarded Section 106 contributions to, so it's to the Anstey Community Sports Club to help them refurbish the groundsman's store, the Anstey Recreation Ground, and also to install a 2-lane cricket net facility, because the one that was there originally had to be taken down when the new hall was built. So in February 2021, Cabinet awarded 74,613 towards the scheme, but we were aware at that time that that wouldn't be sufficient to finish all the works. Since then, they've got planning approval for the cricket nets, which has taken a bit of time to actually find a suitable location. There were arboricultural issues and so on, so they've worked through that. That's now all been agreed, and they've also gone out to tender to get some up-to-date quotes for the work, which has increased since that time. So the total project cost is now estimated to be 123,323,000. The amount of match funding that the club is contributing has also increased to 11,919, and they're seeking an increase in the previous award of 36,792 to help them cover those costs. And we have received 2 more contributions which are allocated to the Anstey Rec site, so that it will be an appropriate use of funds to support the scheme. So members are recommended to do that on subject to a number of conditions, which is that they have a lease with us for the cricket net site. They'll also need a supplemental lease because they're putting on a little tiny store on the side of the groundsman's store, just for I can't think of the word, the things that cut the grass. Lawnmower, a big industrial kind of lawnmower, and they'll also need a license to alter the store So there's some legal paperwork that needs to be drawn up, and I've recommended that we give them a year to actually finalise the project. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you very much, Elaine. Over to colleagues. Any comments or questions? Press your buttons, Lucinda will do them all. Councillor Belsey.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. Elaine, do you think you could just clarify as well, just in stages 1 and 2, obviously, just to give people a bit wider backgrounds? I mean, I think I'm supportive of the confirmation given the Section 106 monies, but I do think it's important to recognise the amount that the council's already contributed to this facility, and I'd just be grateful for your comments on that. Thank you.
Yes, stages 1 and 2 were the construction and the fit out of the new Village Hall and Sports Pavilion, and that work has now been completed. In all, we awarded the Anstey Village Centre Trust grants of Section 106 receipts and reserves, totalling 596,515. So nearly £600,000, a significant amount of money. This award is to the Anstey Community Sports Club. So it's although they're part of the group that were involved in building the hall, it is a separate application, and it is specifically so stages 3 and 4 is the store and the cricket nets. So stages 1 and 2 have been completed, and this is to finalise the next 2.
If I could just come back then, just to, and as far as you're aware, are there any other requests envisaged for this overall site that will come forward in the near term? I'm conscious it's over £700,000, which I'm sure is money well spent, but I do get questions from people in the towns, etc. How fortunate the residents of Anstey are to have over £700,000 of funding given to them by Mid Sussex. So just be grateful to know that this might be the last tranche of funding that's anticipated. Thank you.
Yes, this is the last bid that I'm expecting to receive from both organisations.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Councillor Demir.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I have the same concerns as Councillor Belsey. I didn't quite catch it. How much have they raised themselves towards these projects? Was it 11,000 you said?
Yes, towards stages 3 and 4, it's 11,919, so it's about £12,000. But the Community Sports Club, which has reconstituted itself, I think it used to be the cricket club, has contributed a significant amount of match funding also to the building of the hall. So, I mean, I think the building of the hall was about 1.4 altogether. So they did fundraise collectively, more than half the amount that was needed, and they were a partner in that. So this match funding is only part of their overall contribution.
Thank you. I just feel, well, as Councillor Belsey said, people will look at this when there is so much and so many projects that residents want to see, that it does seem an awful lot of money to be putting into one recreation ground and sports club.
It is already allocated. That's
Hmm?
It is already allocated.
This money.
Yeah. To that side. So.
I don't know if you wanted to comment on that, Elaine? Or...
Yes, I can do. I mean, the Section 106 that's been collected, because we have to specify in the legal agreement how we're going to use that money, it can only be used at this site. And we are so close to completing this project that this contribution will allow them to actually finish the work. And the use of the recreation ground is the most important thing really at the end, as well as the community hall. So yes, so it's just the final step really, I think. yes, and I agree that they have had a significant contribution.
You should come back.
Thank you.
I'll comment
Yeah.
whilst you're thinking about it, Councillor. In fact, Councillor de Meer's asked one of the questions I wanted to ask, which was about match funding and whether they had any support from the ECB. I had occasion to be at this site at the new building the other day, and it's a fantastic facility. I think the District Council has done this community proud. It's superb. And also, I am familiar with the cricket club. It's a very strong cricket club, does a huge amount of coaching of young people. It's a well-run organisation. I think if the Section 106 monies proposed hadn't come from their area, I might be a little less inclined to support this, but I do support it personally. It's a well-run facility, and I think this will just finish it off. I'll just see whether my colleagues have any other comments before we...
John.
Yeah, Councillor Belsey.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman. It's my understanding that the amount is actually allocated for it, and so I think we don't really have much choice in the matter. As you say, it's a good, strong sports club, and the cricket club's, doing well. I know it does take people from outside of Anstey as well, so I will support it, but I think it was really sort of stretching us to the limit as to how much the District Council could be expected to support a standalone village facility.
Thank you, I agree. Yeah. Councillor de Meer.
Yes, the only other question I'd ask Elaine is, are there other projects around that have asked for this 106 money?
No, there aren't. I mean, unfortunately, if there were other projects that wanted to bid for it, it wouldn't meet the criteria of the legal agreement, so we wouldn't be able to award it to another site anyway. And the fact that it's allocated to this project means that it can only be spent at the recreation ground, but we do generally have 10 years to spend the money, and we would only release it if we received a good, strong bid, for a viable scheme which had benefit for the community. So although it is allocated, it's not a kind of done deal if the project that comes forward is not suitable or strong enough. So I think this is a strong scheme. And in terms of Councillor Hillier was asking about ECB support. The ECB I don't think they actually gave a grant, but they did give a substantial loan to the club, which the club is currently repaying. And it has become a very high quality cricket kind of site, and they're specialising in disability cricket at the moment, which is something that they couldn't do before, but because it's all new and that the building's more accessible and it's all on one level, that's a new kind of area that they've been able to expand into. So as a project, it has been very worthwhile.
Thank you, Elaine. Thank you. So, as Councillor Belsey says, we probably don't have a choice, so I will agree with it. My only plea would be that there is something in there that says that's it. Don't come back for another 10,000. Does that make sense?
I think it does. Shall we move to the vote, please, colleagues and officers? Okay, thank you. Thank you. That is unanimously agreed, even. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much, Elaine, for answering the questions and for your report. We will now move on to agenda item 8, which is the micro-business grant scheme. As you'll have heard, I've declared an interest in 2 items. So what I propose to do is consider everything but those 2, first of all, and then vote on that. And then I will leave the chamber and pass the chair to my colleague, John Belsey, for him and his colleague, Councillor de Meer, to consider the other 2 items. So, moving on to the applications for micro-business grants. I note that if these are all agreed, this will use up the fund for this year. So over to colleagues, do you have any questions or concerns on any items other than the Aquapax and the Hayward Heath Business Association?
Yes.
Councillor Demir.
I'm trying to find my notes. Yes, I was a bit confused, if you could just clarify for me. The Bella June Flowers in Hassocks hire a consultant to develop a business plan in order to increase sales. Am I being very stupid? What kind of retail establishment is this?
Over to William Hawkins.
Yep, so Bella June Flowers is a florist based in Hassocks. So, you know, they say the flowers.
Oh,
and,
it says
accessories
flowers.
made
That
from
was the giveaway. Sorry.
No problem.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Councillor?
Yes. Bear with me 1 second. Do you want to go to Councillor Belsey while I find
Yep.
the other comment?
Questions at the moment, so I'll ask one of my own, if I may, at the moment. And there's just a sort of the clarification. First of all, William, can I just say thank you very much indeed for the report. The additional notes have now gone in there are really helpful in just giving the context, which is something I mentioned at the last meeting. So thank you very, very much indeed. It was the one who was the Burgess Hill Rugby Football Club, the sports and recreation. Obviously looks like it's a sort of capital item to business premises, and obviously we're mostly considered a sports club. They're run by volunteers, etc. So I wonder if you could just give us comfort to explain how this application fits into this scheme, please.
Yeah, so the Rugby Football Club has noted that they are registered as a limited business. We have checked this, and they are eligible under those grounds. Their project is to install solar lighting in their car park, and in their application they note that this would help not only the sustainability of the business but also decrease their running costs as a result. So on those grounds they are eligible for this scheme. However, I recognise your concerns, and if there's any issues there, we're more than welcome to go back to them or seek something else.
Yeah, it wasn't a concern. It's just making sure if you've taken advice of officers, etc., and you feel that this is an application that fits, because as far as I'm aware, I don't think they employ anybody. So, as far as I'm aware, this application is not about supporting jobs at all. This is effectively a capital improvement to help a charitable organisation. Have I got that right? And if I have, are you still content that this is appropriate for us to consider? I mean, I'd like to do it. I think it's a good idea, but I just want to make sure it's correct.
Yes, sorry, in the background I'm just scrambling to find their application to confirm what they listed underneath their as employees. Obviously, being a registered business, they do have directors under that regard. So there are that point of contact there. And they note here actually that they do employ 3 part-time members of staff directly through the business. So on that grounds, they would have those there as well.
I'm content with that. Thank you very much indeed. Round to my colleagues, any questions? Councillor Demir.
Yeah, thanks. I remembered what the other one was, and it's probably because you understand it and I don't. But the last one, Sussex Tech Support, coding a cyber security quiz for businesses, which is lovely and great fun, but I wonder how it reaches new customers.
Yeah, so this is something that they would market through social media and sort of pre-sales with new respective customers. They would provide this cybersecurity quiz to them, not so much as a game, but rather
Lead generation.
an icebreaker to help them understand the needs of their business, and then they would step in to fill those gaps as answered by the business that they're trying to attract business from. So it's essentially a marketing tool that they would develop.
That's fine, thank you. If you're happy, I'm happy.
Smashing. Any other questions from colleagues? Right, so we could move to a block vote on all items, as I say, with the exception of Aquapax and the Haywards Heath Business Association. Colleagues would like to vote when they're ready, please. Thank you very much. I'm delighted to say that all of those applications are approved unanimously. I will now leave the room and hand the chair over to Councillor John Belsey to consider the other two items. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Hilly has now left the room. So Councillor Demir and I have two other applications to consider. One is Aquapax, based in Haywards Heath, and the other is the Haywards Heath Business Association, also based in Haywards Heath. Councillor Demir, do you have any questions in respect to either of those two applications which are recommended for approval? Councillor Demir.
No, I don't. I definitely agree with the Aquapax one. I'm not sure about the business association one, for us to be paying for a video production to improve the website, given that I noticed at the end of the report, it says if we approve all this, we're £2,000 overspent. And I think of all of these, that could be the one that balances the books, although I am very aware they do an awful lot of good work. So really, I think I'm looking
Yeah, should we ask
at the experts.
William, Will, if you'd give us your comments on that, please. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So myself and the rest of the economic development team obviously feel like this is an application worthy of funding support. Obviously, those videos that they would produce will go on their website, sort of like a testimonial piece, similar as your previous question. It would act as a marketing device for the business association and hopefully drive up membership, which is where they get their funding from. To your other point regarding the report, yes, does note that by awarding all applications, there would be a shortfall in funding. However, just to make you aware and rest assured that we have identified funding from the previous round of unclaimed grants or grants that came in short, which could cover this. So all applications within this report could be funded if needed.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's very helpful on the funding point as well. I think Councillor Demir, we've seen quite a few other applications where there were productions and things to help support their website and bring traffic in, and as you say, they do good business for the, to try to draw in support for the town. Are you happy that we vote on those applications now? Okay.
Well, with just a little comment, really, that these grants are for community and business as opposed to perhaps business associations, but I can see the relevance.
It qualifies on this occasion.
Yeah.
So thank you. All right, so if we're going to move to the vote now. Okay, I can see that they are both approved applications, and I think we're letting Councillor Hillier back in to resume control. Thank you.
Just read Norman's message. I assume the results have been announced, and we'll move on. Just before we close on the business grants matter, William, so this, I believe, now spends all of the available funds on the premise that all projects proceed. So the first question is all the projects from the previous successful applications? Are they still all going forward? And then in relation to PR, council website, etc., what will happen with regards to making people aware of the status of this year's microbusiness grant applications, please?
Yeah, that's correct. So in awarding of the applications, there is no available funding left from this year. It's all allocated. We do maintain contact with all the businesses to make sure their projects are going ahead. However, in some cases, there are times where there is underspend on projects and they don't claim the full amount. As you'll see from the report, we do tend to roll that into the next round of funding when needed. So rest assured, we are constantly monitoring that. In terms of PR, we usually do sort of an end of grant wrap up for that, just to announce, the type of projects that have been awarded and the total funding. So that will be going out, and we've already started preparing some of that as well.
Smashing, thank you. Yeah, as long as everybody's aware, particularly the business associations, who I know do a fantastic job publicising these grants. Before we close, actually, I did have representation from Councillor Webster, which I omitted to make, and I'll make now if that's permitted. I'm just going to read out from an email he sent me. Officers are establishing a one-off community grant application process for Ukrainian refugees. Applications will be sought for projects being set up to aid community orientation. This will enable community groups to apply for grants from a £25,000 funding pot. A simplified community grant application process is being established, and applications are to be considered at the February 2023 Cabinet Grants Panel meeting. And the officer contact is Regina Chowdhury, for those members of the public listening. I have nothing else from my colleagues, so at 16:27, I declare the meeting closed. Thank you very much, officers and everybody, for your attendance.